When we're talking about aperture, we're talking about the opening into which light comes into your camera. When we're talking about small apertures or narrow apertures, we're talking about 16, 22, or even higher in some cases. And if it's a wider one, like 2.8 or 4.0, that's going to be more light coming into the camera. What you get with a wider aperture is a shallower depth of field. It lets you focus on one subject or a few subjects. And then if you have a smaller aperture, that's going to focus on more of the scene. So for example, in a landscape, you'd want a very small aperture so all of those things are sharp. Aperture is very tied into depth of field. The smaller the aperture, the more depth of field you have. And the wider the aperture, or the bigger the aperture, the shallower your depth of field is. So for portraits and things like that, you want a shallow depth of field to focus on one person or certain parts of their face. And then for landscapes, you want a small aperture so that you can focus on the whole scene. Aperture is just one part of the main ways to control light. There's also shutter